Your mobile phone is a great tool for telling stories. The video and audio quality is more than good enough for social media. But do you worry about whether your framing is perfect? Do you wish you had more than one camera so you can film everything going on around you? Do you wish you could film more cinematic angles and movement without carrying around gimbals and sliders? How do you stand out from all the other mojos with creative storytelling? What if you could make videos which made it look like you had a film crew helping you? The answer to all these questions is a 360 camera and a monopod. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can use this portable kit to film epic stories without any film crew. So let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Shanil and I'm a London-based 360 video creator and trainer. And I essentially help people and businesses learn how to use 360 cameras creatively. And I do this through my YouTube channel called Best 360. I do one-to-one coaching, group coaching workshops, and online courses. Don't go anywhere because by the end of this video, I will share with you what is a 360 camera, how does it work, 10 easy shots that you can follow to film an epic story, and finally, how do you turn the raw 360 footage into a final video for social media just using your phone? So what is a 360 camera and how does it work? A traditional 2D camera will film a rectangular video where you point the camera. But a 360 camera films a sphere of video all around the camera. And in editing, you can choose which part of the sphere you wish to show your audience. So you can show this part to your right or this part to your left, for example. There is no need to point the 360 camera in a specific direction because it is filming in all directions. Here you can see that a normal 2D camera has a single lens and a 360 camera has two fisheye lenses. So this lens is capturing this half of the sphere and this lens is capturing this half of the sphere. The space in between the lenses is called a stitch line. The 360 camera will stitch the video from both these lenses to make a single seamless 360-degree video. The stitch line is quite magical because if you place a selfie stick thinner than the stitch line directly under it or next to it, then the selfie stick is automatically invisible, and this magical effect opens the door for many creative possibilities. That's the theory out the way. Now let's get practical. I'm going to give you the building blocks to tell your own story, and this will give you plenty of inspiration on the most creative ways and easiest ways to tell your own story. What you are about to see was all shot using a 360 camera, specifically the Insta360 ONE-R, and a monopod, specifically the Best 360 monopod, and all the shots was edited on my phone using the Insta360 app. So here is a montage of 10 easy shots that you can follow to tell your own story, showing you the behind the scenes and then the results. You don't need to worry about reframing with a 360 camera, you just need to focus on telling your story. You can do the reframing later in post. So for now, you can just tell your audience to look to the left or to look to the right. You don't need to worry about framing with a 360 camera, you can just focus on telling your story. You can do the reframing later in post. So for now, you can just tell your audience to look to the left or to look to the right. To edit a stand and talk shot, the first thing I'm going to do is position myself in the middle of the frame and add a pivot point here. A pivot point basically tells the software, please show this view to the viewer at this point in time. So this is the beginning of the video. And if I scrub forward to 5 seconds, at this point in time, I want the viewers to follow me. So I'm going to add a pivot point on myself over here. And I'm going to change the view to linear so it zooms in. So if I just play this back, you'll see it go from a zoomed out view to a zoomed in view, and it's following me around. So let's continue following me at the 10th second when I'm over here. Now add a pivot point here. And then I want to hold this position until I point to the left hand side. So then I will turn the view to look towards the left. Hold this position for 1 second, and then I say to look to the right. So then 1 second later, I'll position the frame to look towards the right and add a pivot point here. And if we play this back, you now have a stand and talk shot. Be more dynamic and interesting. Walk and talk to tell your story and show your audience where you are. Be more dynamic and interesting. Walk and talk to tell your story and show your audience what's happening around you. To edit a follow shot, the first thing I'm going to do is turn off direction lock, and this will make reframing a little bit easier. And then at the beginning of the video, I'm going to focus on myself and add a pivot point here and change it to wide so it zooms in a little bit. Then I'll scrub forward to the 5th second and just make sure I'm in the center and add a pivot point here, and then scrub forward and we see the view. So it's doing it automatically, so I don't need to change anything. So now if I play this back, you now have a vlogging shot. Walk and talk to tell your story and show your audience what's happening around you. Don't worry if you have shaky hands, you can achieve smooth cinematic pans easily just by keeping your 360 camera still on a monopod and reframing in post. To edit a reveal shot, first go to the shot which you want to reveal. So I want to reveal this shot, and then I will scrub up 90 degrees to look up towards the sky and add a pivot point here and change the view to linear. So the reveal shot will start from here, and then I will scrub forward 3 seconds and then move down to the shot which I want to reveal, which is here, and add a pivot point. So if I play this back, we start from the sky and reveal the sea. And let's say I want to keep this view for 2 seconds, so I'll add a pivot point here. And now I want to add a pan shot. So I'm going to go towards the end of the video and scrub the video to where I want the pan to end, which is over here. Add a pivot point, and if I play this back, you now have a pan shot. Forget the hassle of carrying around a drone and no fly zones. Just use a long selfie stick instead, the same one that comes with the monopod. To edit a no drone no problem shot, first I'll look towards the sea and look down at it and add a pivot point here using the linear view so it's non-distorted. And as the camera moves up, I will pan up to reveal the sea about here and add a pivot point, and I can change it to a wider field of view to reveal more. And if I play this back, you now have a no drone, no problem shot. There is no need for a cameraman to follow you anymore. Just extend the long selfie stick behind you. To edit a follow shot, I'm just going to add pivot points throughout the video to keep myself in the center of the video. So I'll just move forward a couple of seconds, make sure I'm in the middle, and add a pivot point. And every time I move at the center, I'll just keep placing myself in the middle and move forward a little bit more. Just keep adding pivot points to keep myself center. And maybe one more here. And if I play this back, we now have a follow shot. Likewise, you can extend the long selfie stick to the side of you for a side view. To edit a dolly shot, I'm going to add a few pivot points throughout the video to make sure I stay in the center of the video. So at the beginning of the video, I'm going to put myself in the center and add a pivot point here. Then I'll scrub forward and just make sure I'm in the center and add a pivot point here. Then I'll scrub to the end of the video, make sure I'm in the center and add a pivot point here. And if I play this back, we now have a dolly shot. Extend the long selfie stick directly above your head and it looks like you have a drone following you. To edit a bird's eye view shot, just look down at yourself in the direction you are walking in. Add a pivot point and change the field of view to the one you like. Choose linear if you want a non-distorted view. And that's it. You now have a bird's eye view shot. Walk around a location with many points of interest for at least 2 minutes. Then in post, manipulate the time to speed up and slow down a journey. To edit a time shift shot, it's good to plan in advance which bits you want to speed up and slow down. So for example, in this video, I want the beginning to be normal speed so we can establish I am on Mermaid Street. And then I want to quickly ascend up the street so we can take a quick look around at what's there. And then as I enter the hotel doors right at the end, I want to keep this at normal speed. So now that we have a plan, let's go to the beginning of the video and focus on Mermaid Street. Add a pivot point over here and I'll change it to the narrow view so we can clearly see I am on Mermaid Street. And I'll keep Mermaid Street in view for about 1.5 seconds so we can establish it. And then as I move up the street, let's say at about 20 seconds, I want the view to change to about here. So I'll add a pivot point and change the view to linear so we can see more. And then as we ascend, let's say at 40 seconds, I want to see the direction I am walking in and add a pivot point here. Maybe change it to the wide view. And then I'm going to follow the path all the way up. Just add a pivot point to keep it center as I go up. And just before I turn the corner here, I'm going to add a pivot point. And then after the corner is turned, about here, I'll add another pivot point to look in the direction of the hotel. Add a pivot point here and I'll change it to the linear view. And I'll just add a final pivot point to make sure this is in the center. So now that the reframing is done, I'm going to add the speed. So once we've established Mermaid Street, I want the rest of it to be sped up. So I'm going to tap the speed button, tap 16 times speed, and add the speed all the way to almost the end of the video, which is about here. And tap the tick to confirm. Tap the tick to confirm here. And if I play this back, you'll see a preview of the slow speed and then the fast speed, and then it will suddenly slow down at the end. And you now have a time shift shot. Capture time fly by with the freedom to pan and zoom in post, which is otherwise impossible without extra camera equipment. To edit a time-lapse shot is the same as editing any other shot. So let's say I want to start a pan over here. I'll add a pivot point over here and change it to linear so it's zoomed in. And then I'll go towards the end of the time lapse over here and pan the time lapse around until we see this view. And I'll add a pivot point over here. And if I play this back, you now have a panning time lapse shot. The most infamous 360 camera trick is a super simple yet effective shot to wow your audience. Walk, run, or do anything you fancy around the 360 camera and stay on top of the world. To edit a tiny planet shot, the first thing I'm going to do is look at the nadir of the 360 video, which is basically the bottom of the 360 video, and add a pivot point here and change the view to tiny planet mode. I'll then scrub the rotation until I'm on top of the tiny planet, about here. Then scrub forward in the video until you do one full rotation and you're on top of the tiny planet. Add a pivot point here and then scrub the rotation all the way around until you're back on top. And if I play this back, you now have a tiny planet shot. This is just a small selection of shots which you can do with a 360 camera. I wish I had more time to show you more cool shots and how you could set this up for an interview, for example, but I have run out of time. So if you have any questions about anything that you've seen so far, then there will be a link to a Zoom chat in the video description. And if you are watching this video in the future, then check out best360.co.uk for my contact details and I'll be more than happy to help you. Anyone can learn 360, including you, so pick up your 360 kit today and start shooting now. Enjoy the rest of the show, take care, and bye for now.